Let's jump straight into the ultimate ancient superpower, the Achaemenid Empire. They literally rewrote the rules of world domination. 5.5 million. That's how many square kilometers of territory they controlled at their peak. I mean, we're talking about a massive footprint stretching all the way from the Balkans to the Indus Valley, swallowing up Anatolia, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Central Asia along the way. And under their banner lived an estimated 17 to 35 million people. By 500 BC, this was absolutely the largest empire on Earth. The sheer density and diversity of this population, it was something the ancient world had literally never seen before. So you gotta understand, this wasn't just some kingdom getting too big for its boots. Founded in 550 BC by Cyrus the Great, this was history's very first genuine world empire, bringing countless different peoples and languages under one centralized state. But how did they pull off this unprecedented scale so incredibly fast? What was their secret? Part 1, Rise of the Kings, Momentum of Expansion, because you don't conquer half the known world by accident. The momentum here was just ruthless. Look at this timeline. In 550 BC, Cyrus the Great conquers the Median Empire, which, by the way, was ruled by his own grandfather. Just 11 years later, Babylon falls. Then by 522 BC, Darius the Great steps up and pushes the empire to its absolute territorial peak. But honestly, the craziest part isn't that they won, it's how they won. See, the standard ancient playbook was pretty straightforward: brutal subjugation and total destruction. But Cyrus, he completely flipped the script. His secret weapon was unparalleled mercy. He actually spared defeated kings so they could help him rule. And he famously freed the Jewish people from Babylonian captivity, letting them go back and rebuild their temple. And this wasn't just some clever political stunt. It was baked right into their DNA. The very name of their founding dynasty, Achaemenid, actually translates from Old Persian to having a friend's mind. Diplomacy and religious tolerance were their actual identity. But, conquering the world is one thing. How do you actually control this massive beast without it tearing itself apart? Part 2, the ultimate secret sauce, engine of the empire. This right here is the true engine of the empire. First, you've got the satrapies, basically dividing the whole empire into autonomous units run by 20 to 30 regional governors. Then, the royal road, which was this massive, stone-paved, high-speed highway system. And finally, the Shapar Khane, an incredibly organized postal system for rapid communication across thousands of miles. Administration, transit, rapid communication, that is exactly how you keep 35 million people in check. And here's a stroke of absolute genius. Instead of ruling from a single, vulnerable target, they strategically rotated through 4 distinct capital cities: Pasargadae, Babylon, Susa, and Ecbatana. They literally moved the central bureaucracy with the seasons to avoid extreme heat or cold. It's a flawless, dynamic defense system. Throw in a standardized coinage system featuring the gold Daric and the silver siglos, and you've got an unstoppable economic engine. Standard money, along with tariffs and agriculture, fueled explosive, highly efficient trade all the way to the absolute edges of their borders. Naturally, all of this hyper-organized infrastructure pumped unimaginable wealth right back into the state. Which brings us to part 3, unprecedented wealth and culture, the ultimate flex. With practically endless revenue, they built mind-bending cities like Persepolis. And they didn't just copy other cultures. They pulled the absolute best artists from all corners of their vast domain, synthesizing Median, Assyrian, and Asiatic Greek styles into a totally unique, unified Persian identity. We don't even have to brag for them. We can just read their own words. In this foundation charter, Darius the Great uses Zoroastrian backing to totally hype his own authority, proclaiming Ahura Mazda made him one king of many, one lord of many. Zoroastrianism became this defining element of their culture, introducing powerful concepts like free will into the theological landscape. And their architectural flexes absolutely dominated the ancient landscape. We're talking about the majestic Apadana of Persepolis, the sacred tomb of Cyrus, the grand palace of Darius, and the awe-inspiring mausoleum at Halicarnassus. That last one was built for a local Persian satrap and literally became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So every single metric we've looked at, wealth, military scale, infrastructure, tolerance, tells us this juggernaut was completely invincible, right? So how on earth did an unstoppable, hyper-organized empire suddenly vanish in a blink? This brings us to the craziest twist in our explainer today. After reigning supreme as the undeniable masters of the known world for over 2 centuries, the script gets violently flipped. Part 4. The sudden fall of flipped script. The collapse was terrifyingly fast. Look at this. In 336 BC, a Greek military campaign begins. Just 6 years later, by 330 BC, the entire Achaemenid Empire is completely overrun by Alexander the Great. Following Alexander's death shortly after, this once unified superpower was carved up, kicking off the Hellenistic period. But here's the thing. The empire fell, sure, but its genius didn't. The Achaemenids' brilliant secret sauce, that centralized bureaucracy, the civil service, the multicultural tolerance, all of it was completely absorbed by the Greco-Roman world. They permanently wrote the blueprint for all future global empires. Which leaves us with a pretty chilling final thought. If history's very first flawlessly engineered world empire could be wiped out so suddenly, what does that mean for the unstoppable superpowers of today? What's truly stopping history from repeating itself right now? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.